Welcome to the Purpose Chasers podcast, where those who refuse to let odds or naysayers stand in their way come to chase and catch their true calling. I'm your host, Mark Crandall. In each episode, we shine a spotlight on artists and musicians who dare to dream bigger. You'll hear the real-world tactical moves these Purpose Chasers have taken to carve out their legacies, and I'll break down the marketing strategies you can swipe and implement today. Let's dive in and start chasing our purpose. Don't forget to leave a follow on Spotify or wherever you stream from. Let's dive into this episode. Purpose Chasers, I am very excited to do this lead-in to an episode that is very, very special to me and has become more and more special as the years have gone on since the recording. Jonas Perrin is a legend. He's one of my favorite episode recordings that I ever did on Purpose Chasers. He is a world-renowned artist, has since passed since the recording of this episode. And at the time I didn't really have an understanding of what I was creating with Purpose Chasers, and Purpose Chasers became something much larger than I ever thought it was going to through my work of inquiring and my work of inquiry, of asking Purpose Chasers questions of how they got to where they are, what keeps them going, what keeps them inspired, what art has motivated them. And this episode with Jonas is just one of the most profound episodes on mindset, energy, and art that I have ever done. And it's very, very special to me. It's so special that I wanted to re-release it as episode 117 of the Purpose Chasers, which you're hearing now. And I also wanted to let you know that Jonas Perrin is Producedbynef, Jonas Perrin's father. And it's very special to me that I'm now partnered with and, representing Producedbynef. And now Producedbynef and I are collaborating on what this platform called the Purpose Chasers is. So the re-release of this episode is very, very special. I hope you enjoy this episode, in which Jonas goes really, really deep. And to check out any of his art, to contribute to his legacy, donate any money to his family, please check the show notes. Jonas, may your legacy live on, and may the Perrin method continue to change the lives of artists. I do make a commitment to you that I will not back down from what Purpose Chasers is about to become, and I will represent your son in and through all of this. I hope you enjoy this episode, and if you ever have doubts, this is the episode for you. If you've ever questioned what you've been called to do, this is the episode for you. If you've ever had money struggles and money energy was a real problem for you, then this is 1,000% the episode for you. Jonas goes deep on mindset, energy, and how he became such a world-renowned artist. Jonas, rest in peace, man. I know you're up there. Rest in easy. It's a very special episode for me. I hope you enjoy, and may the Purpose Chasers live on. Welcome back, Purpose Chasers. This is your host, Mark, and I have a real special guest. This is a man that I've been following for about 8 years now, and I've been following him because his son is a Purpose Chaser, and his son I have been mentoring / friends with for about 7 or 8 years. I don't know. We always flip-flop on the amount of time, but regardless, his son moved across the or New England. I'm not even sure if New York is a part of New England.
It's not technically.
It's not technically, but his son moved from New Hampshire to New York to chase his dream to be a hip hop producer. And his son has created that. And Jonas, our guest today, Jonas Perrin, has also created his dream, if you will. But I don't necessarily, as you Purpose Chasers know, I don't believe in dreams. I believe that something is a dream if you don't have a destination and a planned or an action plan to get there. And Jonas is doing something just
blows my mind. And the more I follow him, the more inspired I get. And I know that at one point, Dennis, you were like, were you struggling?
Um, well, yeah, it's not one of my favorite words, but sure, we could use it if you like. Um, you
What would
know,
you
I
call it? What would you call it?
adjusting, course
Adjusting.
correcting. Just a quick background, I started painting full time in 1985. So for all the way up till around 2008 or 9, when there was a course correction in the economy, the global economy, I had relied upon galleries to sell my work. I painted paintings, they showed them in galleries, they sold, and we gradually built a nice um, income stream that way. And all the time that I was doing that, and my family, my kids, including Jonas, our son, was growing up, that's what we did. I painted. My wife was part of that process. The kids were all homeschooled, and then it just kept growing. And then along that time, 2008, 9, 10, in that period, there was this huge shift financially. And I honestly didn't know exactly what to do. My wife tried a business in which I jumped in on, and we worked that business for a while, but neither one of us were totally business minded in that way. And it wasn't something our hearts eventually were in at the time. So I decided to go back to painting, and even though I had done a little bit of teaching, I decided to teach a little bit more and start bringing in some teaching to help supplement what we were doing. And then our daughter, who Jonas's older sister, our middle child, Camille, she, had been doing a lot of work with online businesses, and she had become adept at helping them create an online presence and social media presence. So she started encouraging me to take my work online, especially teaching. And so in 2015, in December, we launched our first virtual course, um, Painting the Flower Portrait, it was called. And it actually became live on January 1st of 2016, and it was very successful. I mean, people really responded to it, and it gave us an idea that, hey, this could work. Let's try this. At the same time, she's telling me, pay attention to social media. This is the new wave. This is how you're going to get yourself out there. I was already on Facebook, so I started being more active on Facebook. And it wasn't for a couple of years that Instagram came along. So we continued to roll out these courses. They continued to do well. Of course, I put all my work online too, my paintings, and we continued to have sales online from the online gallery, painting sales. I began to free myself from the gallery situation. And I say that only in that they would try to put me into a box or a corner and say, well, I like this work, but we don't like this work so much. So anyway, I just began to take more and more control of my life. And along those lines, or about that time, I should say, maybe even prior to that, I began to really go deeply into the whole idea that you create your own reality, that everything you think and the consequent emotions that you feel, and then the choices that you make that flow from those processes, create your reality. And so every experience that you have in your life is the consequence of, it started inside. It starts inside you, and then you begin to create frequencies or vibrations that literally, attract to you experiences that match those frequencies. So anyway, I started working with that as well. And then we started really paying attention to the social networks more and more. And as you know, Instagram now, 131,000 followers.
Let's come back to Instagram, because I want to.
Okay.
I don't want to brush over what you just said, because it was fire for the ages. I mean, Purpose Chasers, if you're listening to this, what he just said is the key to everything that I've created, the happiness within my life, the abundance within my family. And I was at a mastermind this weekend, and what I found was there was a lot of people that there was 12 people there. I won't say a lot. I don't want you to think that there was just like, it was like the Dalai Lama was speaking and everyone was sitting on the lawn. There was 12 people there, but a majority of the individuals there believed that circumstances were dictating their outcomes. And what you just said reminded me of something that I've been saying, and I shared last week on the podcast. Individuals become so stuck in the circumstances that they're caught in, and so focused on that, they spend all of their time and energy focused on seeing what's going on to them as a negative. And what has been so profound for me, and I know a lot of your experience because I've been following you, and regardless of whether you know it or not, been asking your son questions about you for a long time. But regardless of the circumstances of 2008, 9, and 10, you started to, as did I, come to the reality that the way that you were viewing the situations, the circumstances in your life, were what was actually creating your reality and your outcomes. And my experiences in coaching a lot of individuals is that so many people get stuck in their own limiting beliefs based off of the fact that they're viewing things that are happening to them and for them negatively. And so I'll share this, and then I want to dive back into it. Well, I want to hear your thoughts on what I just said, because I can see the brain churning as I'm talking.
Absolutely.
But there was a woman who, I'm actually about to start doing work with, who has this amazing program for teachers. And she's created this program and this training to empower teachers to practice self-care inside and outside of the classroom. And I was going over everything that she's created, and I'm like, okay, with this, the website, this, and all this stuff. And she just started crying, and she's like, I can't believe that I did this. And I was like, what do you mean? She's like, I can't believe that everything is just such a mess. I was like, well, you've gotten to where you are based off of what you've been doing. What I would ask you is to focus on the lessons that you've learned and the person that you've become, and don't dismiss these as negative things. And her whole demeanor, her whole attitude, and everything changed. And she started to just ping off the lessons that she had learned and who she had become. But I believe that so many humans get caught in, just like, for the Purpose Chasers that know my story, I'm a convicted felon. The state's never going to hire me to work with, delinquent youth. Right. I was caught in that story for years, and that prevented me from actually applying and going through the process of trying. Well, guess what? I got hired.
Yeah.
Because I believed that I was the best candidate for that job, and I believed that I was no longer my past, and all of the stuff that you just shared. What are your thoughts on that? Do you see a lot of individuals in the art space? And it's funny because there was 2 artists at this mastermind who are going to benefit greatly from this. One of them just does phenomenal art. She does stuff with paper and marbling that I didn't even know you could do. I mean, it was just beautiful. And I'm like, well, how much, she wanted to trade coaching, or I propositioned her to trade coaching for a couple of pieces.
Yeah.
And I was like, here's what my coaching's worth. What are your pieces worth? And I was like, no. You got to match me hour per hour. And she became so uncomfortable with what my hour rate was versus what her art was worth. And she couldn't get to the place that I love art. Art enhances my life. Viewing art in my house, in the process of seeing it and what it does to me, empowers me to create in the way that I create. And there was just a disconnect from her being able to see what I see in her art. Do you experience that a lot? Do you have a lot of students that get stuck in the whole realm of what they're worth and get stuck in past experiences and that whole piece?
Oh, where do I begin? Absolutely. I mean, virtually every student I come across or comes across me is stuck in some sort of self-limiting belief system. You know, I'm too late to start. I'm not going to be as good as you or somebody else. I'm not good enough. Um, I don't have time. I mean, it's just, there's 1,000 reasons. And, you know, it's interesting. You presented a lot of information there, but if I can boil it down to one kind of catchphrase, everything, I mean, literally everything is energy. Energy. It's not matter. It's not substance. It's not structure. It's not solid. It's energetic. And our thoughts and our belief systems they're forms of energy. And so when we create a belief, and we all do, everybody does, everybody's always creating beliefs. The world that we live in and perceive matches that belief and congeals into a solid appearing reality that matches it. So if our belief system is a self-limiting, I'm not good enough, I'm not valuable enough, whatever, then everything around us confirms that, because we created it. And so it comes to us and it demonstrates itself to us. So the only thing that gets you out of that prison that you've created for yourself is a change in the way you think and feel. And you have to find a way to go to think beyond your current circumstances. So if your current circumstances, just like you were talking about, says, I'll never get hired because, or I'll never be successful because, then you literally won't. But if you can find a way, and time is one of the ways, is set aside time to, I'm a really big believer in meditation, because meditation will put you in a place where that energy can begin to flow in a direction that you want it to. And then if you can begin to at least get a glimpse of a reality that's greater than the one that you're now living, and you might call those dreams or goals or fantasies or whatever you want to call them, those can become the new reality for yourself. And it takes, I have to say, discipline. Again, another word that I'm not like super fond of, because it implies struggle and challenge. It almost has a negative connotation, but discipline, to discipline your thoughts and find the time to imagine what it is that you want, because everything starts with your imagination.
Can you break that, Dennis, can you break that down a little bit? Because I mean, I know what it means for me, and I can imagine what it means for you, but just for the purpose chaser who's not, the individual who's listening to this episode, who hears about people manifesting, right? And then there's so much negativity that people draw into that. And because they don't really understand that the manifestation is I'm creating my reality in my mind, right? And what I don't think a lot of people understand is the action that it takes to affirm the manifestation. Can you talk a little bit about your process of what it means to create although we're not fans of the word discipline, or
Right.
I would call it a practice, right?
Yeah.
Because
A practice.
a limiting belief comes in, and oh my God, I no longer think what I thought. I can't change the world.
Right.
Right.
Right. Well, you can change your world.
Yeah.
And that's the only world that you need to change, because that has an impact on everybody's world. So let me break it down like this. This is how I teach painting. And this is why I say painting is, like every other activity, every other human activity, has lessons in it that apply to everything. So, for instance, I suggest that if somebody wants to do a painting, so they get an intuition that they want to paint. Okay, so the first like little glimpse or slight little disturbance on the surface of the mind is, hey, I think I want to do this next painting. Okay, so that starts it. There's a little bubble that starts it there. If they can give a little energy to that intuition, then it can begin to grow and gain some momentum. And before you know it, they're starting to have a clearer and clearer idea of what it is they want to do with this project. So they want to create a specific painting. They want these specific conditions. They want it to convey a certain mood. They want it to, let's say, have a mood that's dramatic as opposed to a quiet or a poetic mood. So they begin to get clarity around it, right? So it starts to grow into a clearer and clearer picture. And before you know it, they start to understand what subject. In other words, is it going to be a still life? Is it going to be a landscape? Will it be a figurative piece? Will it be an abstract piece? What is it? What is it that will best convey this idea that is now born and growing inside me? It's gestated, right? So you allow that process to grow and grow until it becomes so powerful that you now have this clear understanding of what that looks like and how it's going to feel when it happens. So in other words, you're reaching for the event or the experience long before it actually manifests. But what you're doing is you're creating an energetic connection between where you are now and where this experience takes place in your future. And so all the action steps that will occur between here and here become more obvious. They become easier to discern. They fall into place more easily because you now have this clear idea of where you're going. It's like you put the address in GPS, and now the GPS is saying, in a quarter mile, take a right onto Route 31. And then in a half a mile, take a left on Route 17 and blah, blah, blah. And then you arrive at your destination because you had a destination. So if we take that example of painting, so when you get to the easel, it's like so many decisions have already been made. I know what size canvas I want. I know what my subjects are going to be. I know what brushes to use. I know how to lay out my palette. All these things, they've been practiced before, but I have so much clarity around it that the result of the painting result has an inevitability about it. It's going to happen. And it's going to happen in the way I pictured it. It might even exceed the picture that I had in my mind, but that picture in my mind is what actually created all the steps along the way plus the product. But what you're saying is so many people have become focused on the current reality that they're experiencing that they have no room in their lives or in their mind to create something new for themselves because that current reality is just dominant. And whether it's a future reality or a current reality, you're always recreating it over and over again. Every day you recreate your life energetically but it often looks the same because you're thinking the same thoughts and you're taking the same actions, and nothing really has changed. So the reality appears to be the same.
I want to use your GPS analogy because I thought it was brilliant. And I want to share an experience that I had yesterday. So I'm driving back from the mastermind that I attended. And, my wife's a really big Eagles fan. Obviously, we just moved to the Philadelphia area so we could be close to her mom. And I'm driving back and I got the GPS on. And when I'm on phone calls, GPS won't chirp. She won't, it's Waze, but I have a British accent, right?
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
really enjoy hearing her.
Yeah,
and
fun.
so I'm on with my wife and I'm cruising along and I'm just trying to be present to the conversation that I'm having with my wife, and she's feeding my son. And all of a sudden the highway splits, right? So GPS is telling me where to go. I'm not paying attention to it. I'm talking to my wife. The highway splits. I get off the wrong highway.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about it now. I was like, I get off the phone with my wife and I'm like, damn it. Like,
Mhm.
really? Really? And then I take this route and I get back on the other highway and I saved 2 minutes.
Mm.
And I thought, and when you were speaking and you used the GPS analogy, I think about so often I would have gotten off the wrong exit of life in my mind.
Right.
And I would have been like, my whole life is ruined, and I would have stayed stuck in it. And I would have never been able to see the journey and the process that the universe guided me off a wrong turn, according to GPS, which saved me 2 minutes.
Right.
Right. So many people get so wrapped up in taking a wrong turn or a GPS recalculation that they spiral back and they believe that all of their progress is gone, rather than viewing it from the place of, what is the universe trying to show me? What is there for me to learn? Exactly what you're saying. I just wanted to share that because I thought it was.
Hey, I love that GPS analogy, and we can even take it a little further. So let's say you're in the process of driving, and you take this wrong exit for one reason or another. You missed the message, or you misinterpreted, or whatever, and then you find yourself in another place, a place that you didn't really expect to be, and one of your instincts is to try to go back and figure out what went wrong, right? Oh, what went wrong here? But the best thing to do, of course, as we know, all of us using GPS, is to recalculate from that point going forward to my destination. How can I go forward from this point? So, you can relitigate the past over and over again, or you can say, well, I'm here. How can I go forward and get to where I want to go? And I think GPS is an amazing thing. I mean, it has analogies that can just go on and on. It really, plus I love it because speaking of which, in a couple of days, my wife and I are hitting the road for a huge road trip, where I'm going to be teaching live workshops. Now, teaching live workshops is another thing that came into our lives as a result of my willingness, I guess, or my efforts at restructuring or recreating my life in a direction that I wanted it to go. So when all the downturn happened, the live workshop thing came along. And so now every year, a couple times a year, we go on the road and we teach workshops. And literally now it's all over the world. In the fall, we went to Moscow, and then we went to Italy. Then we came home and we went out to Arizona, California. And now we're getting ready to go on the road, and we're teaching 7 workshops in 2 months. And it'll take us all the way to the southeast and out to the southwest and the west coast and back through the Midwest. And that's another one. And we get to travel, and we get to meet all kind of new people and have great experiences. And yeah, it's a little inconvenient to leave home, but it just opens up so many doors. So, and by the way, I rely on GPS immensely during these trips because it helps me find my way to all these locations that reading a map might not be as much fun to do.
So, I mean, your story is just beyond powerful in a way that, and I've been in the personal development, motivation, whatever, SEO tag you want to put on it to get
Yeah,
on a Google search for years now. And the way that your story relates to me, even though I don't paint,
right.
it's just brilliant. It's brilliant. So out of what most would refer to as turmoil and questioning your existence, right? So you're financially strapped. You don't know what you're going to do. You jump into a business. You don't know what you're doing. You're calling to this world, the gift that you've been given to provide to the earth is your art. And in those moments of true deep questioning, and I'm sure you had limiting beliefs come up, you shared some of
Huh.
them, and
The
you're like,
limiting beliefs. The limiting beliefs is what put me there to begin with.
is what put you there to begin with, and
Yeah.
versus seeking situational solutions, which is what we do. I mean, I ranted about this last week on the podcast episode where I was talking about so many people online now, which I'm sure you're familiar with, it actually shocks me to see and to follow you and see how active you are on social media. Now, I know you have some help behind the scenes, but it's amazing to me. And so many people get stuck in the situations that they never stop and take a look and view the only thing that can change their reality, which is them in their mind.
Yeah.
And
That's right. The biggest illusion that we all work under is that something outside of ourselves is responsible for our circumstances. I mean, that is, and let me say that just saying that is a good step towards taking charge, but it's not everything, because saying it and knowing it is not really enough to actually do something about it. Because doing something about it, whether it means changing the way you're thinking, which is the number one thing to start with anyway, is what you have to do. Because we can talk philosophy all day long, but you know, when the rubber meets the road, you have to do something about it. So I just want to bring up something pretty interesting, and it's just occurring to me now. So when you say, "Wow, I can't believe how active you are on social media," um, you know, I've listened to Gary Vee, and I've done all the things that a lot of people do to expand their social media presence. And my daughter is one behind the scenes who is assisting me. I mean, we're in business together, so she assists us in expanding the social media. But honestly, one of the limiting beliefs could be, "Hey, I'm too old for that shit." I mean, look at me. I'm almost 70. I still get looks of disbelief from younger people who say,
that's
"You
actually
what?"
what I got to stop you, Dennis, because that's what I'm thinking. And I'm not going to pretend like I'm not, right? Like,
Yeah,
so that's what I'm thinking is like at your age, you're that active on social media. And
right,
as I'm thinking that, I'm thinking about all the people that are in my circle and in my sphere that are having that believe that, well, it's too late to write a book. It's too late to put my art out into the world. It's too late
right,
to start a podcast. It's too late to go to my boss and ask for a raise. It's too late to take my family on a vacation or whatever the thing is. It's too late. It's too late.
right.
And this is something that I get really, really fired up about. Do you know when it's too late? When it's too late.
When you believe it's too late, it's too late. But there is no too late. For one, I don't know how esoteric we want to get, but the idea that there's some sort of distance in time between where you are and where you want to be is another one of the many limiting beliefs that we have. there's your goals and your desires, your dreams, I've heard it said, are only, they're not years, they're not months, they're not weeks or days or even seconds away. They're only vibrations away. They're literally only apart from you because you have kept the belief that they are apart from you or that they're in your future rather than accepting them as a now reality. Now, again, that's philosophy and that's easy to spout, but practicing it, because it goes counterintuitive to what you've done your whole life, is another story. And that is the word practice. I love the word practice because it literally means I'm going to try this over and over and I'm going to get it right. That's what practice is, right? I mean, every discipline you can think of, sports. I'm a big sports fan, just like, sorry about the Eagles, but our Patriots lost too, and then whatever.
I'm a Pats fan. The wife is
Right,
the Eagles fan.
right. Well, we both had our hearts broken, but whatever. We also recognize it's just a game, just like all the other stuff is just a game too. And if you want to get good at the game, you got to practice, right? So you got to try out different modalities, different strategies, different mindsets, and try them out and see how they feel and see if they work. So,
I mean, this is probably one of my favorite interviews to date. This just translates, the conversation that we're having right now translates across anything that you listening may be going through, right? You hear me talk all the time, and the individuals that are out there selling motivation, I just want to re-emphasize that you don't lack motivation. No one in this world lacks motivation. What you lack is the belief in yourself to fulfill on what you want to create in life. And Dennis, you just gave countless examples.
That's what I do. I paint,
That's why I said it.
It could be actual pictures or it could be metaphorical pictures, but that's what I do. I'm glad you brought up the word motivation, because my favorite word in that regard is the word inspiration. So inspire, the spirit, inspire. So inspire to me is like, putting that destination out there with your imagination and having it draw you to it, as opposed to motivation, which says, I don't like where I am, so I'm going to push myself towards what I want. So, it just feels energetically easier and more comfortable and more exciting to be pulled like a moth towards a flame effortlessly than it does to like push the cart up the hill that weighs so much, because there's so much baggage in it. There's so many stones from my past. I got to push my way past that. So anyway, just a fine tuning of the idea about motivation versus inspiration. And so this isn't original to me. I heard all this stuff from other teachers, but I like to take all the different things that I've learned and bring them together in a package. Can I put in a plug for that right now? By the way, my Genius Circle thing, that's kind of what I'm doing with this,
Yeah, we're gonna get into it. And before you do that, I just want to share to the audience, and I want to state, so in the pause, in the identification of not following the direction that I believe I was called to do, I stopped the podcast this summer before my son was born. And the reason being was I was chasing higher, like what I believe to be higher and higher level people, because I wanted the podcast to blow up, and I wanted these moguls and major figures to share my work with the world. And what I found was I was on interviews and I didn't really care what they were saying. And I don't mean I didn't care what they were saying. I wasn't connected to them. So I stopped the podcast. And that's, what created the space for you and I to have this conversation. Now I'm back, right? So I have people that reach out to me all the time. Can I come on? Can I come on? I want to tell my story. No, no, I don't want that anymore. Like and what I can say, if you're wondering like what the results of that are, my downloads of the podcast, you listening to this, has doubled in 2 months of relaunching and getting back into why I originally started this. So if you listen to your heart, to your intuition, whatever your guiding light is, and you pause and you identify, the universe will guide you. God will guide you. Whatever you believe in, energy will guide you to that place if you do what Dennis has shared, and that is practice. And your mindset is a practice. Limiting beliefs for me come up daily. The difference is I don't dance with them. I don't make out with them in the woods, right? Like I'm not letting them marinate. I know that they're not my reality unless I make them my reality. So Dennis, this has been just phenomenal. And yes, now that we've gone deep, which is totally why I wanted to have you on, I want to talk about what it is that you've manifested and created and how you're using your art to empower the world.
Yes. Well, what you said about pausing and reassessing, I think is, again, the GPS analogy of course correction. Because just like driving and being on GPS, you can become a little unconscious, once you set things in place and you start moving in a direction and you kind of stop paying attention to what it is you're experiencing and where you want to go. And it's easy to get influenced by other people's ideas about what you should or shouldn't be doing. So I really appreciate what you just said, and I love what you just said about the limiting beliefs come up all the time. Of course they do, because you created them and they are real. And so they're not going to just go away because you said, well, I know that those beliefs are going to limit me, so now they're not. It takes practice. Again, the football player, the basketball player, the athlete, who shows up every single day and who works on their fundamentals, the artist who works on their fundamentals. I love the word fundamental because it really means the foundation of. It's the building blocks of something. And the fundamentals of almost everything in our reality are simple principles. They're simple. And it's on those simple pieces that the rest of the structure is built. But if you don't have those simplicities in place, then that structure will continually unravel or collapse as time goes on. So just like in painting or athletics or piano, which is something else I have passion for, you have to revisit the fundamentals every day. The same with this self-creating reality. You have to revisit those fundamentals every day, and you're never really finished. You're never done. You never really arrive at a destination. I know that that's something that you talked about in your previous podcast, which I listened to and really enjoyed, this idea that people are so fixated on the destination that they completely lose touch with how much the journey to that destination is giving them. That's where the real gift is. It's in the journey to the destination. I teach that in my painting. Everybody wants to create beautiful paintings because they believe that when they do that, they'll feel good about themselves. But what I try to teach them is if you can't feel good while you're making the painting, while you're creating it, then you will never arrive at a painting that will make you feel good. you're always going to be self-critical. You're going to look at your painting and you're going to say, oh, I could have done this, or I should have done that, and you're going to work on that painting over and over again until you kill anything that's good about it. And I see that over and over again. And the same thing applies to the journey of life, and that self-creating piece about how you create your reality is like, just keep creating. Let that whole journey unfold. Accept the gifts, be grateful for the gifts that it brings. And guess what? You'll end up at the destination without even realizing it. You'll look around and say, hey, this is what I wanted. And then you'll go, oh, wait, now I got a new destination that I want. And it just keeps going. There's no end to it.
It is. I'm just, yeah, I'm dumbfounded and just really, I just want to stop and express my gratitude for you taking the time to do this interview. This interview has impacted me. And I know that when interviews such as the one that we're doing impact me, I know, and it's my hope that it inspires the audience. And I know that you are working to, and I'm using your word, inspire your artists. And you've recently launched and began offering more for your audience. And I get, before we get into your new project and what you're super passionate about, I just gotta say, I'm like blown away because I know a lot of people that are teaching art, and I know a lot of people that are teaching, that are coaches or whatever, and they're teaching the step by step, and we're going to teach you how to get there. The way that you're talking about working with your students and working with them on their mindset as they're creating art is just, I'm so grateful for who you are in the world. Like, rock on. I don't know what else to say to you.
Thanks.
So this the new project that you're super excited about, which is why I reached out to you to have you on, because I was really, really intrigued, and I don't even paint.
Yeah.
You people need to paint to be inside your new project. And what is your new project?
Well, okay. So the new project is called the Genius Circle. And what it is it's a membership or subscription service where people sign up for a monthly subscription. And I have to say, it's very reasonably priced because I realize that people are always looking for something that they can see value in, but they want to, let's say, they want to kind of test the water, stick their toe in the water and so forth. So I thought, okay, cool, we can do that. So what I did was create this whole thing and then give them the opportunity to enter into it. And the more the merrier as far as I'm concerned, because we all win with that. And what it is of course, I'm attracting people who want to paint better. That's sort of their first impulse when they look at what I'm doing. So they look at it and they want to improve their work, or they want to be more successful, or they want people to catch on to what they're doing, or they themselves want to, catch on to what I'm doing and have a little piece of it. So that's what I present out there. So with that Genius Circle, when they come into the circle, they get a full-length HD quality video in which I focus on some principle of painting, some like very specific, usually one or two things that most people who paint are challenged by, or find or intrigued by, or don't quite understand how to get there, right? So this is where the genius part comes in. So my thing is, everybody's a genius. There's nobody who is an exception to that statement. Every single person on planet Earth has been implanted within them the qualities of genius. Now, it could manifest in just 6 billion different ways, and it often does. But most people don't allow the genius to come out of them because of these self-limiting beliefs. So what I want to do is first show them, look, you can do this with painting, right? Here's how you paint. And so what's happening is we're recording these videos and we're right in to the mix. I mean, we have like this technology that allows us to like float right inside my little sphere while I'm painting. And it's my wife who's doing the filming, and I'm doing the painting, and I'm talking the whole time. And I'm talking about all this stuff that we've been talking about today on the podcast. So I'm not just showing them how to put the paint on and make nice looking paintings. I'm teaching them how to think about painting and how to think about, you know, where you are in the painting and where you want to be and all the different things. So that's one piece of it. And then I give them exercises to practice on their own to reinforce these principles that I'm showing them in the videos. And then I have a separate blog. It's a video blog. And I'm on camera, just like you see me right here. And I'm talking about these mindset principles and how to use your imagination and how to develop a practice of meditation and reach a state of the quiet mind. So the quiet mind is one that's not conflicted. And so your energy is moving in the direction that you want it to go. And then I give them exercises there. I have a meditation, and actually Jonas, you know, who we both know, created the music for that meditation. And he's got a tremendous talent for creating meditative music, tremendous. So I have a meditation and narrated guided visualization, if you will, for that. Or I give them an exercise about like when you're in bed at night and you're going to sleep, practice in your mind what it's like to create a successful painting. See it, feel it, especially feel it. Get used to what that feels like so that when you're actually in the middle of that process, you can tap into that feeling. So I give them these exercises. So I've got the physical piece of how to create a painting and do all these things. Then I've got that mental and emotional piece that to me is essential. You can't really have the success with one without understanding how the other fits in. So another element that we're giving people is a mastermind session virtually, like we're doing right here on Zoom. So people from all over the world, literally in all time zones, can come on to a platform just like we have right here. They can be on the screen and they can ask me questions. They can share resources. I can do the same with them. We can explore all these topics. We can explore topics about the physical part of painting. We can explore topics about the mental and emotional situations. Who knows where it's going to lead, but that's another piece of it. And then another piece is what we call the community forum, which we've had in all of our courses. The community forum is an online forum where they can post every day, anytime they want to. They can post their work, they can introduce themselves, they can ask questions, they can share resources, and everybody in the circle has access to it at any time. And I look at it every day too, and I respond to it. We have a private Facebook group, of course, which kind of extends the community. And community is what we're all about, just like you are, because there's power in community. And then finally, we are giving people in the circle the opportunity to share their work on our social media platforms, which you know are pretty vast. So I have 131,000 followers on Instagram as of right this minute. And
how do purpose chasers find you on Instagram? What's your handle?
Jonas Perrin Fine Art, at Jonas Perrin Fine Art is my Instagram. Jonas Perrin Fine Art, 4 separate words, is my Facebook fan page. I also have a personal page, Jonas Perrin. I have a Twitter account, Perrin Painter, it's called, @PerrinPainter. I'm on Jonas Perrin Fine Art on Pinterest, and then I also am on LinkedIn as Jonas Perrin Fine Art. So we're trying to keep the brand the same all across all the platforms. Anyway, there we have it. Instagram, Facebook, and I also have websites. I'm assuming you want me to say what my website is.
Yeah, go ahead. And for those of you listening, all of this is going to be in the show notes. So just head over to markcrandall.net and you can get all of Dennis's details.
So my teaching site, which includes the New Genius Circle, is called theperrinmethod.com. So my last name, theperrinmethod.com. And then my gallery site where my work is posted is dennisperrinfineart.com.
I mean, before we wrap this up, I just, again, want to express gratitude to you for who you are in the world, and really express gratitude for, in those moments of questioning and in those thoughts of giving up, recognizing and seeking to essentially recreate the mind. There's so many individuals. I mean, I talk to people every single day, purpose chasers, and whether it's a coaching call or in our Facebook community or in our circle, or we call it the Purpose Chasers community, the platform that I've created to offer content and all that. And so many people just get wrapped up in the limiting belief. And then, obviously my book, Embrace Your Past, Win Your Future, I share processes of how to stop blaming your past. And if you stay in that mindset, you can never get to where you have. And man, I'm just so grateful. And I want to stop expressing gratitude because I'm going to keep going and going and going with it. So grateful for you taking the time to come on here and share all that you're creating with the world.
Thank you. Well, I'm grateful to you for offering this platform to somebody like me to give a voice to what I'm doing, to a different community, because, it's easy to be in a niche, and a niche is awesome because it allows you to focus. But, I feel like I like sharing what I've learned with people in completely different avenues. And, so I'm really grateful for that, and I'm glad that you have invited me on to this podcast because I've really enjoyed it. And I also want to express my gratitude for the work you've done with my son. He benefits greatly from what you've done, and I know that he sings your praises all the time to me. So I follow you just like you follow me through him. So,
awesome. Thank you so much.
Of course.
That's a wrap on this episode of the Purpose Chasers podcast. If you're ready to take action, don't wait. Head over to thepurposechasers.com to access notes, resources, and a host of other tools to keep you moving forward. And if you want to supercharge your digital presence, visit scaletosaleconsulting.com to partner up with my team and amplify your impact. Let's turn your purpose into your biggest asset. Until next time, keep chasing, keep creating. Your purpose awaits.